You need a needle driver, a grasper, either a Hunter or a Maryland, and you need a pair of scissors. And then you need a silk suture cut 6 inches long. You want to start with your needle driver with the deflecting blade up. You want to grab the suture with the needle curving up. Grab the suture about a centimeter away from the end of the needle. This allows you to pass it in through the trocar. Start again. Or just keep going, we'll edit that out. I'm going to start over, okay? For intracorporeal knot tying, you need a needle driver, you need a grasper, either a Hunter or a Maryland, and you need a pair of scissors. And you're going to cut a silk suture, approximately 6 inches long. You want to grab the suture with the needle curved up, grabbing the suture about a centimeter behind the end of the needle. This enables you to pass it in through the trocar, and the timing would start as soon as you come into the trocar. You want to have the needle curved up so it's easier to grab and it's already in the orientation you want. With your left hand, grab near the tip, and then grab the needle in the center. Alternatively, you can grab the needle with your left, or the suture with your left hand, about a centimeter behind, and lay it on the tissue and come in and grab the needle. If the needle's not perfectly oriented, you can spin it in your needle driver using your opposite hand. I like to grab the penrose at the bottom so that I can show myself the dots on both sides, and you're going to drive your needle through the dot on the right side, and then show yourself the dot on the left side and drive it through the dot on the left side. I would typically grab the needle with my needle driver, pull it through, following the curve of the needle, and then use my left hand to perform a pulley maneuver so that I don't pull the penrose drain off the Velcro. You then want to leave yourself a tail of 1 to 2 inches. I always put, for the first row, you want to put the tail up and to the right, and you want to have your needle curving up and pointing up and to the right. So I have the needle curved up, and the needle is oriented up to the right upper corner of the screen. In addition, my empty grasper is also pointing up and to the right. I then create a C-loop, reach over this with my empty grasper, and pass twice around for the first row to make a surgeon's knot. Try to slide this back to the black of the grasper so that when you go through and grab the suture, it doesn't catch on the grasper. Grab the suture and hold it tight, and then slide this back over. If your needle is going to go off the screen, you can re-grab closer to the knot and pull through until it's tight. Now you're going to do everything up and to the left. Put the tail up and to the left, and you now want to orient your needle up and to the left. Notice how I place it on the block and can orient it up and to the left and then grab it with my left hand, so I'm going to trade hands. I now have the tail pointing up and to the left, my needle pointing up and to the left, and the empty needle driver in this instance up and to the left. I then create a C-loop. If you need to create your C-loop and make it more pronounced, in this case it's a reverse C-loop, but we still call it a C-loop, you can grab it in the middle and pull to the side with your empty driver. And then reach over, wrap around, single throw, reach through and grab the tail and pull it through. Again, because my suture is long, I can come back closer to the knot, pull that through tight. Again, my first step is now to put the tail up and to the right. I then want to get my needle oriented up and to the right. To do that, I'll hand it to my right hand in the proper orientation. I now have my needle pointing up and to the right, my tail pointing up and to the right, and my empty grasper is pointing up and to the right. And notice I have this C-loop. Reach over the C-loop, wrap it around, grab the tail, pull it through. Again, I'll pull it tight. The next step is to cut the suture. The easiest way to do this is to leave the needled side suture down and to bring the tail towards that suture to enable yourself to grasp them both together. The easiest place to do that is by the knot. And you slide up a little bit, put it on some tension, bring in your scissors, and the exercise ends when you cut the tails. It's a